everyone, and welcome to the 4th episode of MCUEx, your #1 source for MCU news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Addie Hays, and with me today are Doug Herring and Jeremy Stewart.
Hey everybody.
Hey guys.
First up on today's show, the weekly headlines, where we run down the biggest news of the week and get in as much discussion as we can before the timer runs out. Earlier this week, while promoting his new movie 999, Anthony Mackie may have let slip a major character's appearance in Civil War, saying, "I feel like the story is very concise and interesting, and you get to see Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson and Mark Ruffalo, and everybody just do really, really good acting." The actor has since retracted those comments, saying he is referring to the MCU in general, and not Civil War specifically. Guys, do you think Mackie actually misspoke, or will the Hulk be appearing in Civil War? Let's put 90 seconds on the clock and discuss.
My first take on it is that he did slip up because he redacted his comments, and I think from the way it seems, I don't think we'll see Hulk in Civil War. I think we will see Bruce Banner in some capacity in Civil War.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think when you look at what he was saying right before that sentence and right after, he was clearly talking about Civil War specifically. I don't buy this excuse that, oh no, I was talking about Marvel movies in general, because he's clearly, like right before this, he talks about how great Civil War is. Right after, he talks about how it'll be the first superhero movie to win Best Picture. He's talking about Civil War.
I mean, the quote, those two sentences are together. He says those, like, in order.
Yeah.
It's about Civil War.
I don't
see any other way.
I think he misspoke. I think he let it slip, and now Marvel's pissed at him. And he has to take everything back.
Yeah, I think Marvel's PR person saw that and was like,
Stop, red tape.
I'll find a good way to cover.
But what you said, Jeremy, about how you don't think we'll see Hulk, but we'll see Banner, I think you're onto something. I think we'll see Bruce Banner in a very limited capacity, a little bit more than a cameo, like one scene.
Right.
Yeah, and I wonder how, because I mean, last time we saw him, he was flying away as Hulk. So
the thing is, I think if we were to see Hulk, we would know about it. I don't think they would hide the fact. They're already hiding Spider-Man from us and Black Panther a little bit. I don't think they'd be hiding Hulk.
That's a good point.
Mark Ruffalo maybe has a bigger role than we expect in the battle.
I mean, we'll see.
Cool. What's next?
While we're still a few weeks away from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.'s March 8th return, it appears as though a cast member has confirmed fan speculation regarding the future of Grant Ward. While at Portland Wizard Comic-Con last weekend, Elizabeth Henstridge, who plays Simmons, seemingly confirmed that Ward had been taken over by Hive. Quote, "Watching him play Hive is interesting," Henstridge said. "He has the memories of the people he has killed." Let's put 90 seconds on the clock and discuss this new character's development.
I love it. Props to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan base. They have been remarkably accurate in terms of predicting developments on the show. I first saw the theory that Skye would turn out to be Daisy Johnson near like the end of season 1. And within minutes of the season finale, or the mid-season finale airing of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I saw the theory on the S.H.I.E.L.D. subreddit that he was Hive.
Yeah, I remember reading that like immediately after.
Yeah, so I've kind of already assumed that.
Yeah.
But to get this confirmation is awesome. Hive is a really cool character, a parasite that doesn't really have its own identity, but takes the identities of those that it. Right. It's awesome, and I think we're going to see another cool bit of stuff from Ward.
I wonder if it's a similar thing that Mackie just did. I don't know if she actually was supposed to say that or anything, but I don't think the TV's as like secretive about everything.
That's true.
It's not probably that.
I also, my one problem with it is that we've seen Grant Ward like die like 1,800 times and keep coming back.
But I love him as a character.
I love him as a character. I love the actor. I love what he's done. But this is becoming a theme with me. If you're gonna kill someone off, please kill them off.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with him being Hive, especially if he's taking the memories.
Yeah.
But if he dies one more goddamn time, he better be dead.
Yeah,
that's one of the things I think MCU has to like work on a lot better. Is these little fake out deaths that they keep doing. They need to like commit, even though it'll break my heart.
Yes.
What's next?
While Martin Freeman was announced as a cast member for Captain America's Civil War months ago, his role has been kept tightly under wraps. Well, thanks to Empire Magazine's issue on all things Civil War, we now know that Freeman will be playing Everett Ross, a government official who in the comics serves as a liaison between the US and Wakanda, home of Black Panther. Guys, What do we think about this news, and do we think it's a safe bet that we'll see Freeman return for Black Panther's solo outing? Let's put 90 seconds on the clock and discuss. I think he's definitely going to be in it. I mean, since he's the liaison between US and Wakanda, there's going to be no way. And then also the picture that Empire released, the new picture that they released with Black Panther, Captain America, Falcon, and Martin Freeman is in that one.
Right.
So it's kind of like, oh, he's with Black Panther, so I think that's kind of foreshadowing for more of the Black Panther.
Yeah, and I absolutely love the character of Everett Ross. In the comics, he's got some really, really cool scenes that I'm really hoping play into. They do that thing where they like recreate the comic panel,
Right,
which they
right.
do. So there's a scene of him on a toilet without pants, and it's just. And Martin Freeman's the perfect person to play the straight man, grounded in the real world, compared to all of these other people, especially Black Panther.
Yeah, with Wakanda as crazy a place as it is, the audience kind of needs a surrogate and in to this crazy world. And like you said, Martin Freeman plays that role better than anybody else.
Yeah, he's played it so many times, and it's always great and refreshing.
Yeah, and there was a really cool article about the author of Black Panther, the comics, talking about why he created Everett Ross, and he was saying that it's too hard for the audience to connect with Black Panther.
Yeah.
So really the story's told through Everett Ross, which means for the Black Panther movie, I'm not sure, just because they're tied so closely in the comics, I'm not sure if they're going to be even able to do it without Everett Ross.
That's a good point. I think Everett Ross will wind up playing a similar role in Black Panther as Rhodey plays in Iron Man, or as Falcon or Winter Soldier play, not so much Winter Soldier, but Falcon plays for Captain America, or Luis for Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's next?
Awesome. So speaking of Empire's Civil War coverage, the magazine has also released several new photos of the film showcasing Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, and our first official look at the villain Crossbones. Guys, what stands out to you with these photos? Let's put 90 seconds on the clock and discuss.
I love the way Scarlet Witch looks.
Oh,
her new
that
look
was-
is like the coolest thing. And
Yeah.
that's the first picture I saw out of that. Her photo is awesome.
Yeah, because I didn't really see any non-official photos of her.
Yeah, I
costume.
didn't
You've
either.
seen some Crossbones stuff.
Well, yeah, there have been shots of her in that, what I assume to be one of the opening scenes when they're in Africa dealing with something. And she's in like street clothes.
Yeah.
She's not in like her
And
Avengers uniform.
Yeah.
And
And it looks quite close to what the original artwork for her is too. There's
We were talking about that
the
last
concept art for Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
You're right.
Her outfit's just so kick-ass.
Yeah, and I think the rest of the pictures look really cool too. I like the way we've seen Crossbones, but seeing him in like a full legitimized picture, I think is really cool.
It's not just a set photo,
Yeah.
it's an official like reveal of him. Yeah, he looks awesome. I
He
love
looks
the way
so
he
good.
looks.
And it made me realize that we never really have seen that much of him in the trailers. The trailers don't really talk about Crossbones.
Not at all.
Which I was like, oh, I like how we haven't seen much about
Yeah,
it.
keep it focused on Stark and Cap.
It's more surprises about Crossbones, so.
Definitely. Yeah, I think he'll wind up playing a bigger role than I think a lot of us
I
are
completely
expecting. I think there was a rumor a while back that he'll like die in that opening scene. I don't think there's any chance of that.
Oh,
I
that's-
heard another rumor that goes back to that day we did a little bit of spoilers thing. Where if you don't want to hear that, skip to the next segment. But it's that he's the one who ends up killing Captain America.
Yeah, that would make sense. That's pretty faithful to the comic. So that's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, what's next?
Alright, since it was announced almost a year ago, very little has been known about the upcoming Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spin-off, Marvel's Most Wanted, starring Lance Hunter and Bobby Morse. However, Deadline has released the first official synopsis for the series, which reads, centers on Bobby Morse, aka Mockingbird, and Lance Hunter of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., two ex-spies and ex-spouses who are on the run with no friends, no S.H.I.E.L.D., and a long list of enemies looking to claim a bounty on their heads. Able to trust no one but each other, Bobby and Hunter form an uneasy alliance with Dominic Fortune, Delroy Lindo, a rogue adventurer with a wealth of resources and even more adversaries, who agrees to protect them so long as they help him with his own agenda. These two heroes will help anyone in need, all while trying to uncover the conspiracy that put their own lives in jeopardy. Guys, what do you think of the sound of this synopsis? Let's put 90 seconds on the clock and discuss.
I love it. It's burn notice in the MCU. Those last two sentences where they'll help anyone in need all while trying to uncover that's burn notice. If you haven't watched Burn Notice, Watch it, I guess it's okay.
Well,
It's one of those USA Network shows where you're like, oh, that's a show.
and then it ran on for like 6 seasons too long.
And that's usually what happens. But no, I mean, I think it's on Netflix. It's like worth
To get a feel of what it's going to make.
but basically, so Burn Notice is like a spy that gets burned, and he's trying to figure out why he got burned and who burned him, all while helping people and hanging out with his ex-girlfriend and Bruce Campbell. Yeah.
I
So
think
go ahead.
one of the cool things is going to be seeing how they get off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
If it's this season or the beginning of next season.
Yeah, there seems to be something that's going to happen in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that'll burn
Yeah.
Bobby and Hunter.
I mean, I was also I heard a couple rumors about this a while back, and they didn't know which characters they were going to split off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to use for the new spinoff. I love that it's these two.
They're like my favorite characters.
And their chemistry is really, really good.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see them on the road. My only question is how much of this superhero are we going to see? How much of the Inhumans are we going to see in this?
I think it'll be less than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I agree.
Yeah, they've really dived deep with the whole Inhumans thing, and from what that describes, it doesn't seem like we're going to get nearly as much of that.
Yeah, I don't even really hear anything in
Right.
that synopsis about any powered people.
Right.
Cool.
What's next?
Ever since John Bernthal was announced as the Punisher in Season 2 of Daredevil, rumors have been swirling about a potential spin-off starring Frank Castle. However, in a recent interview with Digital Spy, head of Marvel Television Jeph Loeb said the following regarding the rumored spin-off. I think that's something that people are speculating on as opposed to something that's actually happening. While he certainly hasn't ruled out the possibility of a spin-off, it does seem that we shouldn't expect to see a Punisher series anytime soon. Let's put 90 seconds on the clock and discuss these comments. I mean, yeah, at least haven't they ruled it out, but I wasn't really expecting a Punisher series so soon, even like before Daredevil Season 2 has been released, because it took so long for us to get a Season 2 of Jessica Jones.
Yeah, Melissa Rosenberg, the showrunner for Jessica Jones, said something to the effect of, when and if Season 2 of Jessica Jones happens, which we now know it is, we still don't know when, that kind of depends on the Defenders,
Right.
and I guess there are legal deals between Marvel and Netflix that require the Defenders to be in production by a certain period of time.
I mean, the other thing, I like the fact that he didn't say yes, but he also didn't say no. I like the fact that he didn't say, he didn't make a promise to the fans and say, oh, we're definitely doing a Punisher series, and then if something happens, because they've got to do Iron Fist, Luke Cage, The Defenders, Jessica Jones 2. The Marvel Netflix world has a lot on their plate, and I'm glad they're not heaping more, but I'm also glad they're not ruling it out.
I didn't think about this until now, but they could even do like a Netflix movie.
They could,
or a TV movie.
And yeah, I actually wrote an article for MCUExchange about different Netflix movies that MCU could do with that darker style, and I like the idea of it, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a movie either, because if you can do a series of 13 hours, why constrain yourself to 2?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Cool. What's next?
Ever since Iron Fist was announced as being a part of the deal between Marvel and Netflix, fans have been speculating who would end up portraying the Defender on the small screen. According to the folks over at that #show, it appears that is about to change as they're hearing about a rumored casting for the role of Danny Rand, one that is sure to be an interest to Game of Thrones fans, as the actor rumored for the role is none other than Finn Jones. What do we think about this potential Iron Fist cast? Let's put 90 seconds on the clock and discuss. So excited.
Yes.
I love him on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, he plays Sir Loras on Game of Thrones.
Yes, Terrell.
The Flower Knight, or whatever his name is. I watch Game of Thrones. I'm not a huge Game of Thrones fan, but I watched it. No, but I've seen him on Game of Thrones. He's great on Game of Thrones. I think if it's true, I'm excited. I'm excited that we're hearing anything at all.
Yeah, it's been such a long time since we've heard something, and it should be coming in soon, so...
Yeah, I'm quite excited to see him in the Netflix universe.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is, from Game of Thrones, we know he can do a dark, gritty series with lots of violence.
Yeah.
We know he's got sword work down and whatever they're gonna have him do as Iron Fist. He's he clearly has it on his resume that he can do the fighting.
Yes.
Which I think is a huge, especially for Iron Fist, you have to have.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Image-wise, I really like just physicality, like what he looks like. I really like it for Danny Rand.
So let's address that real quick.
Yeah.
There was a fan petition, a lot of fan outcry, desire to see Danny Rand cast as an Asian actor. Now, Danny Rand is not Asian in the comics, but some people think that probably should be corrected, or he should have been portrayed for the sake of equal representation and just for the sake of better representing the character. So our time is about to run out, but
We can talk a little bit longer.
yeah, let's turn off the timer and talk about what do you guys think about the fact that Danny Rand is not Asian. He's a white blonde actor.
I don't know, I'm white and blonde, and you're a white blonde male actor. It's kind of like a weird, touchy subject to talk about, because at one point, and on one side it's like I want it to be closer to the comics, but on the other hand, I do want more diversity in the MCU, which they are taking steps to do.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking probably the Iron Fist show will probably have a lot of Asian actors in it because of its training. And it's, I don't know, it's like, I know they did audition, they did offer, it was can be Asian, they didn't say physicality looks, right?
From
what we read.
I read
Yeah,
that
I remember
casting
reading
call.
it, but
From the leaked casting call, if that was legitimate, then yes, it did not specify race.
So you have to think about it, at least from actor's point of view, he probably, gets kind of upset too if he's casted that people are giving him backlash about it, because maybe he deserved it. Maybe he just has
This
character thing.
This is my thing with casting, is that
it's hard.
it should be the best actor for the job.
Right.
If he had been Asian, great.
Yeah.
Then again though, it's weird coming from me because I am an actor who is a straight white blonde male.
Right. Almost that, except the male.
Right. And so it's I don't feel super comfortable speaking about it because of bias.
Take it all with a grain of salt. Please don't hate us.
Fair enough. No, I just wanted to address that because that has been a big issue surrounding the cast around Iron Fist. And like you, Addie, I see both sides.
Yeah.
Whether you want to go for equal representation and diversity, or if you want to go true to the comics.
And
we just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know if the cast.
That's a good point. I think it's really hard to judge at all. I think it's hard to judge anything at all before seeing the show, or at least seeing something of it.
Knowing all the facts or anything like that.
Okay, cool.
Great.
What's next?
For the second week in a row, Agent Carter aired 2 episodes this week. Episode 8, titled The Edge of Mystery, and Episode 9, titled A Little Song and Dance. For an in-depth discussion, make sure to tune in to our sister podcast, It's All Connected on MCUExchange.com. That being said, let's briefly talk about our thoughts on this week's Agent Carter. This time, I actually did watch them back to back, and I must say, that little song and dance in the middle kind of
it ruined both episodes in a way. It did. Okay, the scene itself was okay. I applaud ABC's efforts to cross over Dancing with the Stars and Agent Carter. They're 2 very, very different shows, but that cross promotion is a new and innovative way to do it, and they made it work, I think, as well as they could. The scene itself is not bad. The place it came in this season is so terrible.
That's what I was going to say.
It comes right after we see Jarvis try and murder Whitney Frost because his wife has been rendered infertile.
Yeah.
It's the most dramatic, serious episode of the season. That ends, and then not 2 minutes later, we're seeing Peggy sing and dance about that stupid friggin' love triangle. I hated that. If it had shown up in episode 4 or 5, that would have been fine. I would have been okay with it, and it would have brought a fun, zany energy that Agent Carter as well.
Or even just the beginning of episode 8, so it's just not right smack dab in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it worked in episode 8, but if it just, the back-to-back thing, it shouldn't have been placed in the middle when it's, the dramatic action is getting to its big high.
Right, it was the worst possible place for it. Jeremy.
I'm just not going to say anything because it will turn into a very... I have a thing about musicals and TV shows. If you want to know more, tweet at me later this week or send in a question for next week and I will cover that. But
it'll be just for you.
From the episodes, skipping over the song and dance part, I was much happier this week than I was last.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
that
fair.
is
We
true.
kind of ragged on the musical so much
Sorry,
yes.
that it's clouding the fact that other than that,
No,
they
the
were two solid
episodes were very, very solid. I thought Jarvis was fantastic.
I agree.
When he's by Anna's bedside and his eyes are really, really good work there. Yeah.
In the scene between Jarvis and Peggy when they're like out in the desert in their fight,
Yeah.
it was so great.
And
I
then
loved it.
Thompson doing the double, triple, quadruple cross.
See, that's my thing that don't get me started on. I've hated the way they've handled Thompson, this character.
I
For
haven't
this
liked it
season.
until the last episode. I actually, the funny thing is I was sitting watching and it got to me when he was in between one of the crosses when it looked like he was gonna go back to Victoria Frost. I was like,
Whitney Frost.
sorry.
Victoria.
Whitney Frost. I don't know where Victoria comes from. Thank you.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where I was like, oh, I hate you. And then I was like, oh, I hate a character on the show. Good job.
Right, you
Yeah.
hated him because you were supposed
Right,
to hate him,
right.
not because he
Right.
annoyed you.
Yes.
But you still kind of like him because it's Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah.
He's like this nice persona.
And it's Chad Michael.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my problem with Thompson is that last season he was basically nothing more than an obstacle for Peggy.
Yeah.
A guy who, basically a good guy, trying to do the right thing, but still just being this,
Sexist.
yeah, this obstacle for Peggy that Peggy had to work around.
Mhm.
And that was fine for season 1. But then when he and Peggy went to Europe and met up with the Howling Commandos,
Yeah.
there was a hint of character development.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then that disappeared
Yeah.
for season 2. It was wiped. And I think there are two interesting ways for the Jack Thompson character to go, and then the way that they're going. The two interesting ways are either he grows up and learns to trust Peggy and becomes like a good guy and works with her, like Sousa has, or he falls to his ambition for power and becomes one of the first S.H.I.E.L.D. agents that is under Hydra control.
Right.
Both of those, very
The
interesting.
problem with the first one is then you have to kill Sousa. Because
No, you don't.
from a writing perspective, that's the same character.
No, it's not. They're completely
Well-
different. He can still be abrasive, but working on the right side. But the way that they've gone is to pick the least interesting option,
Yes.
where he's
Yes,
not
I
working
agree.
with Peggy
Yeah.
or against her. He's again trying to do the right thing, but just getting in the way,
Yeah.
which stops him from being a character, and he's just a plot device.
Right.
And Chad Michael Murray's better than that.
Yeah, well,
Is he?
absolutely.
He is.
I think
Yeah.
so. No, because like in some certain scenes, like I really, really like him
Yeah.
acting.
Yeah.
But I was also gonna like support your claim that like if he did turn into a good guy, they'd have to like kill Sousa, because then all Sousa is really there for is just like a love interest
yeah.
with Peggy. If they're just two like
We don't know
good
that.
guys.
Yeah. Well,
Let's should we
yeah,
move on?
anyway, let's move
Again,
on.
tune into the other podcast.
Yeah,
if you wanna
make
hear
sure
more.
you check out It's All
Yeah.
Connected for a much more in-depth discussion and hopefully less ragging on Thompson.
Yeah.
And musicals.
Yes.
Okay, what's next?
Our next segment this episode is our main discussion of the day, where we debate something about the future of the MCU. As we mentioned last week, the first trailer of Season 2 of Daredevil dropped last Thursday and heavily featured the Punisher. Now, just yesterday, Part 2 of that trailer dropped, which focused heavily on Matt Murdock's former love interest, Elektra. There's tons to talk about in these two trailers, so our question for the day is, what was the best moment of the two Daredevil trailers?
In the Elektra heavy one, the one that dropped yesterday, I'm gonna focus on the gentleman who is in a mask and turns and starts to take it off, and the weapon he has is the it's like the chain with the knife thing. I don't know what it's officially called, but it's the same thing that Nobu had.
The chainy knifey thing.
The chainy knifey thing that absolutely wrecked Matt Murdock.
Yes. That's what made him go to Melvis Potter for his
Yeah.
knife.
And it's also, and that was one of my favorite fights. That fight is
That was
like
such a good
7
fight,
minutes
yeah.
long, and the only way, Matt Murdock frankly gets lucky in it because there happens to be some gas in the sparks of the fire.
Right.
And the interesting thing is we never actually saw Nobu die.
If you don't see their dead body, if you don't see them go into
Right.
the ground, they're still alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Which because then
And even
Kingpin
then, I'm a
came
little
in.
questioning.
Exactly.
Like, they'd be kind of like burned or something.
Right, yeah. So I think it's Nobu, and I'm super excited to see
Yeah.
him come back because he's the only villain or fighter that we really saw challenge Matt Murdock and actually, frankly, beat him.
Oh yeah, straight up. Well, I mean, Fisk did too. The
Fisk
first
did
fight,
too,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Nobu was awesome. He was a great character in
Yeah.
the first season, and
Really enjoyed him.
I think he'll continue to be a great character this season if we see him again. But my favorite part of the trailers was, again, in that second trailer, we see Stick again, which is awesome. I love Stick. But what he says is he introduces the hand.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The hand is awesome. It's the secret evil ninja clan.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and they allude to it a lot in season 1 when they talk about like the enemy that Stick is training Daredevil to fight. But they never actually, I don't think they ever actually say the name The Hand. I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. But,
I don't think they actually say it.
But so the fact that they've named it, I think this feeds into the popular consensus that for the Defenders, that's going to be that's going to be our main villain. So to see the Hand get brought up and you know, it's funny because last week we were talking about how it looks like Punisher is going to be the big bad of this season. I'm not so sure that's
actually
true.
that second trailer.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think it's going to be the Hand, and so if they're introduced and set up as this huge evil organization ninja thing in season 2
With chainy knifey things.
with chain and knifey things and yeah,
Yes.
I think that to see them come back in the Defenders is going to be even cooler. So that was my favorite part. What was yours, Abby?
My favorite part was actually from the first trailer, and I know you really liked it as well.
Yes.
The dialogue of the Punisher and Daredevil and all his lines that we kind of talked about last week. That really highlights the relationship and the difference between Daredevil and the Punisher. And I think, at least from the second trailer now, I think Punisher will be more of an obstacle for Daredevil with the way he's dealing with them coming back.
Yeah.
Because he does even say a line like, is what I've been doing this whole time helping?
Right.
I mean, that's
Well, because
exactly it.
the thing is, if Nobu comes back, then Punisher can be like, look, when you put them in the ground, they stay there.
Yeah.
That's
You didn't
Which
do
can
it.
be, because if, and this is all purely speculation,
Yeah.
if it is Nobu or not, but it can be one of those things where you didn't actually kill this guy, he's coming back with a vengeance, this is why it's better to blank.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point, and I think that Addie, while your part, you're right. I did love your point. Daredevil's or Punisher's dialogue in the first trailer. That was my favorite part of the first trailer. It wasn't my favorite part overall.
Yeah.
But I think that your pick does tell us more about the second season of Daredevil than Nobu coming back or him being name dropped. Because I think that it's fair to say each of these shows so far has sort of had a philosophy.
Yeah.
Where Daredevil season 1 was about justice and how far to go and whether or not you can cross that line.
Right.
And they did that, and they showed that with the dichotomy between Kingpin and Daredevil. And Jessica Jones, it was all about, personal choice and getting over abuse and coming to terms with these things. And so I think the philosophy of season 2 of Daredevil is going to be kind of an evolution of what it was in season 1 with justice versus vengeance and being a vigilante versus being a murderer.
Right.
All of those being a hero versus being wanted by the police.
And I think there's another interesting thing with the dialogue, and this might be just a me personal thing. I don't know how I feel about Elektra's dialogue from the second trailer.
Especially the last
her little lines, the like little bit where she says like hungry after they've just stopped fighting, and at the very end where it's like it's something along the lines of it looks like you've been working out, and it like flashes to him beating up more people. I see what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're gonna pull it off.
I just don't know if it's the trailer though.
Yeah, this is the other thing. I don't know if it's the trailer. I don't know.
Some of the humor in Daredevil season 1 didn't always work for me. I'm looking at you, Foggy.
Yeah, still
but
also
here's
looking
the
at
thing.
you, Foggy.
Okay, but I didn't like Foggy in the trailers
Yeah.
for season 1, and I didn't like him in the first episode. But by the end of the season, am I alone here? I really like Foggy by the end of the season, and I think it might be the same thing with Daredevil. The humor, because it's so dark, the humor might not work in the trailers.
Yeah.
But I think it'll work just fine in the show itself.
Well, I'm not.
Foggy,
Go ahead.
I liked him up until when he found out he was Daredevil, and he just kind of got angry and pissy that he was like risking his life, and it seemed like that in the trailer too. And I was like, oh, that's the Foggy I don't like.
Yeah.
Whiny Foggy.
Yeah.
Is bad.
But
And
funny
that's-
Foggy, I like funny
I
Foggy.
like Foggy's comedy is fine. It works well for the show to diffuse some of the tension because, frankly, nobody can sit through 13 hours of that much dark.
That's
great.
Yeah.
a good point.
Um,
and that's, I mean,
and so-
Jessica Jones had a lot of dark
Yes.
humor, and they needed
Well-
that to make it watchable.
And I loved it.
And I think the nice thing about that is her as a character was super sarcastic. It was
Yes.
like, and she got to bring that to.
Yeah.
But again, it's that thing of it's tension and tension and release, which
Yeah.
helps build when it gets to those really important moments.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure because it seems like from the trailer that Foggy is now just angry, whiny, and mad.
Yeah.
And Elektra's kind of taking up the mantle to say the couple comedic lines, and just from the trailer, I don't know how much I'm gonna like.
I definitely see where you're coming from, but again, I'll say that I felt the same way about some aspects, specifically the comedic ones for season 1 in the trailers.
Yeah.
And it might just be that because the trailers are so dark, that
Right.
humor doesn't
Right.
necessarily
Yeah.
work.
Right.
Like that scene in the first episode of Daredevil season 1, when Matt and Foggy like are debating how long they've been lawyers.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Like that scene might not have worked in a trailer, but I love that scene in the
Yeah.
show.
Right. And I agree. And I think would be the thing again. I'm gonna have to watch the show
Yeah,
and
that's
then make my decision. But just from the trailer, her dialogue, I love Punishers.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
love Matt's responses. I'm not sure how I feel about
I like,
Elektra.
yeah, I like the response to like, she's like, you're the only person I can trust, and he's like, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Right. You don't break into my apartment and then talk to me
See,
about
and I
trust.
think that's the type of comedy that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure her saying hungry
After
is really after.
Okay,
you know what I
but-
mean?
but-
to that scene, something that I did like from that scene, I thought they looked awesome just
Yes.
in the little bit that we saw of them
Yes.
fighting
Yes.
together.
I also think her
And I like her
costume looks
costume with
great
the-
with the.
Yeah. I don't love the vest over the red outfit she's got going on, but it's I like it. And speaking of costumes, Daredevil's
Yeah.
new mask.
Daredevil's new mask.
Red.
It's still, I love the red eyes, and I love just the fact that it's red.
Yeah.
It still has a problem that, the last mask had, which is it makes his nose look squished.
Yeah.
And they've talked about this, how they originally wanted to do, like it's in the comics, where it goes above the bridge of his nose.
Right.
But when they did that, it was so obvious.
Yeah.
One, it was obvious to the other actors that it was Charlie Cox in the costume.
Yeah.
Right.
So the other characters would have instantly been able to tell, oh, that's Matt.
Yeah.
Or when it was his stunt double, it was
Oh, it's
obvious
not.
that it
Interesting.
wasn't.
Oh, that's so funny.
So for in-universe purposes and
Yeah.
practical
I like
purposes,
that though.
they had to make it cover the
I also
nose.
think it's a lot harder to make a mask like that.
Yeah.
I mean, from all the comic book characters we've ever seen on screen, it is hard to make a good costume. I
It
think
is.
we've seen that with Tim Burton's Batman, just all the way up
Yeah.
through. So I mean, they
the
take
MCU has
That's
generally
really
done a
done a
fantastic
phenomenal
job.
job. An absolutely phenomenal job. But even Captain America's mask looks a little again.
In the Avengers,
Yes.
it did.
Yes.
Cap's costume was
It's
terrible.
Yeah,
in the
and then they
Avengers.
tweak it and.
But then I love the way it looks now with the chin strap instead
Yeah,
of like the
the
full
strap.
latex
Yeah.
mask or
Super
whatever it is.
better.
Right, but my point being, I think it's a lot harder to practically.
Yes.
You know, it's easy to not easy, but it takes skill. But it's easier to draw them and be able to mold it exactly how you want.
Yeah.
And then once you get it on a real life person with having to light it, having to.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot. It's very very technical.
And then just one little thing off your things with Elektra. We just kind of got off that, so we can say.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
I really do like the relationship between the two, but I'm kind of worried that there's going to be a love triangle between him, Elektra, and Karen.
And then Foggy's
Because
gonna be
in the
there.
first episode, in
And
the first
we all know
trailer,
how I feel about love
yeah,
triangles.
in the first trailer, we see a little bit of like him and Karen gotten a little intimate, and then
Yeah.
of course, like in the Elektra trailer, we see them, Elektra and
Yeah.
Daredevil get very
I
intimate.
Yeah.
think that was the boxing ring that Matt's dad fought in.
Oh,
So-
Yes.
Great.
So
Let's.
That's a
move on.
great place to end.
Yeah,
that.
Yes, I think that is a good place to end this discussion.
Before ranting starts.
All right, so for our last segment of the day, we're taking some of your questions from Facebook and Twitter and answering them on the show. If you have a question that you want to see answered, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and ask your question using the hashtag MCUEx. Our first question comes from actually Hochins on Twitter, who asks, will we see Marvel reacquire Fantastic Four anytime soon?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of things happened to work out with their deal with Sony,
Yeah.
and none of those same things are happening with Fox.
Well,
First off, Sony and Marvel already had a good relationship.
Right.
Much better than Fox. Second, Sony needed that deal. Sony's movies weren't working, and Spider-Man was really the only franchise that Sony had, and it was starting to... Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't lose them money, but it made them less money than they
also,
needed.
it canceled their production of Sinister Six.
Yes. Good.
But I will say to that, though, Fantastic Four was way worse than Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes, but Fox has other properties.
Yeah, and that's
I mean,
what I was gonna like.
Fox has Deadpool. Fox has the X-Men. Those are making plenty of money for them. And even disregarding those, Fox has other franchises.
Yeah.
Fox is doing just fine.
Yeah.
They don't need the deal, and Marvel doesn't need the deal.
The only interesting thing is, a couple of months ago, Ike Perlmutter, who was the head of Marvel, left, and he came in. He did not leave. He left the cinema.
There was a shakeup between, yes. So basically, under the old structure, Kevin Feige, head of Marvel Studios, answered to Ike Perlmutter, head of Marvel Comics. But now he answers directly to Alan Horn at Disney.
Right.
And so Ike Perlmutter is still very much in charge of Marvel,
Comics.
and the television side still answers to Ike Perlmutter.
Interesting.
Feige just, he effectively got a promotion.
Great.
Yeah.
So my point being in that is that Perlmutter is known for being an absolute hard ass. He's the one who saved Marvel from bankruptcy in the 90s, who sold off the properties.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing with him not being in charge of the MCU is that I think, depending on how the Spider-Man Sony deal goes, if that makes Sony
That's true.
a bunch of money, I think Fox might, just because Fantastic Four has failed miserably for them. Fox might say, hey, do we want to do the same kind of deal where we give you these 4 characters? I think what Marvel will be most interested in is actually the villains from
I was going to say, Marvel needed Spider-Man way more than they need Fantastic Four.
Yes.
But you could argue that Marvel needs Galactus and Doom. Yes.
The point being, I think we'll have to see what happens with Spider-Man. I think there is the smallest of chances it happens, but again, don't hold out hope would be my fair warning.
Cool. Let's move on.
Our next question is from Anna Oliveira. Anna wants to know, what are your favorite MCU characters and actors?
It's a tough question.
Acting-wise, I know this is like a really controversial scene in Age of Ultron. It's one of my favorite acting moments between Mark Ruffalo and Scarlett Johansson when they're both like talking about how they're individually they're monsters.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that scene. I didn't think it was sexist at all.
No, I think the controversy over that scene was a little overblown. Of people not understanding what Widow meant when she said she was a monster.
And it was just such a vulnerable scene.
Yeah.
And the two of them together was just so awesome to see. And that, like, I mean, I really loved most of the actors in the MCU.
Yeah.
But that's one of my favorite actors moment.
I would say my favorite actor, just because of the way it shook out, is gonna have to be Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah.
Just because also for me personally, seeing Iron Man when I was in, I think I was still in middle school.
Yeah.
And like I saw that movie like 3. I can't imagine the MCU even starting with anybody else.
Right.
So and there have been moments in his movies that I haven't been a huge fan of, but him as an actor overall, even stuff outside of the MCU, I absolutely love him. Character-wise, get back to me.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna do the actor list.
Yeah, no, I have no idea.
For me, my favorite actor, not as an actor, but as a person, Chris Pratt and Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
If I could pick 2 people in the world that I could just designate my new best friends, every interview, every bit of social media I've seen from them, they look like they are like the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
So that's just my favorite actors. So I'll go first for character. Favorite character, probably Captain America.
Yeah.
I love Cap
I was
so
gonna say
much.
for you.
And I used to have the same problem with him that I do with Superman, which is that he's such a good character. There's a really easy way for him to be very boring.
Right.
And I still have that problem with Superman. I've never really been interested in. I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I just don't
His
like
interviews are
Superman.
great.
I don't like that take on Superman. And this is partially a credit to Chris Evans, partially a credit to the writers. They have made Captain America one of the most interesting characters in the MCU, which I think is a really impressive feat.
Whichever one's your favorite for the day.
Yeah, right now.
Right now. I'm gonna have to go with Iron Man. I think I'm gonna have to go with Iron Man.
Yep. Okay.
I'm gonna say Scarlet Witch because I'm really excited to see more of her and like what her powers are. I think for me at least, power-wise, she's the most interesting to me right now. And I want to see more character development from her from Civil War.
I might be choosing Thor. Sorry.
Let's move on before
This
we
question's
brainstorm.
giving me. Yeah, this question's going to drive me insane.
All right, so our last question of the day comes from Cameron Sabidi, who wants to know, do you think we'll see Gwen Stacy or MJ in Spider-Man?
That's a tough question because I think that when they're going back to Spider-Man's high school roots, it makes most sense for them to go with Gwen Stacy.
But
The Amazing Spider-Man just had Gwen Stacy, and I think all the other characters that were in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, it's safe to assume that we won't be seeing them again for a while. I don't think we'll be seeing Green Goblin for a while. We certainly won't be seeing Electro again for a while.
Never.
I also don't think we'll see Doc Ock just because of how well they did in Spider-Man 2.
So,
But it was a while ago. That's what I'm going to say
Yeah.
about MJ too.
yeah, but so are you saying they just skip over Gwen Stacy like the Raimi films did?
I don't think they'll skip over Gwen Stacy either, though. I think they're gonna have both of them.
Hey, more
Because
love
they're
triangle.
both.
Yeah, more love
You
triangles.
guys-
Well, okay, hopefully it won't be like. Well, maybe it might be like a different kind of love triangle because it's high school, so it's
Yeah.
like love triangles aren't like that. It's like they won't be like an adult love triangle.
Yeah, it'd be much worse.
But since supposedly Gwen Stacy, the actress will actually be a teenager, it'll be very, very different from Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy.
That's true. That's
So I think they might be okay with having Gwen Stacy in the upcoming Spider-Man movie that comes out
I mean,
next
I
year.
think-
It's just so soon. That's why I'm not worried about MJ at all.
right.
With the Gwen Stacy one, I think they're gonna focus probably more on her if she's in the movie,
Right.
like getting the character right.
Yeah, and I think that as long as they have her but don't kill her for a few movies, it'll be okay. If they were to introduce her and kill her, don't kill Gwen 2 movies in a row.
Right. Right. I think the other thing is because I just don't know the deal with all of the not controversy, but all of the rights issues.
Yeah.
Is who got traded with Spider-Man.
Well,
Because
I
I
don't
don't
things
know
to
if
keep in mind about Spider-Man is that the rights have not actually changed hands.
Right, but I don't know if Sony said, okay, you can have Spider-Man and Green Goblin, but don't take this, right? I don't know if
It's still
people
a
were like,
Sony movie.
But right, that's the thing. No characters were licensed. The cool thing about the Sony deal is that the next Spider-Man movie, it takes place in the MCU,
right,
but it is not being produced by Marvel Studios.
And-
right.
It is being produced by Sony.
I
Yeah.
think that deal also kind of shows that like a lot of the Spider-Man villains that Sony still has that MCU Disney can't just use. I think they only can just use Spider-Man in the like crossover movie.
Right, so
Yeah,
I think the thing will be interesting of who gets to go with Peter Parker
into
Other
Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but then again, Jane and Pepper weren't in Avengers Age of Ultron, and we didn't miss them. So
Yes.
you can have Gwen and
Yeah,
then just have her not show up.
Yeah.
We might really like whoever plays Gwen and MJ. We want her in other
Right.
movies.
That's right. This is hopefully we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's the end of this week's episode of MCUEx, everybody. We want to give a huge thank you to our friends at Stone Street Studios for letting us film here. If you like what you saw, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and check out MCUExchange.com for up-to-the-minute updates on everything related to the MCU. I'm Addie Hays. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Addie Bree.
I'm Jeremy Stewart. You can follow me Instagram, Twitter at JeremyDouble_Stewart. Again, tweet at me if you want that rant. Also, shout out to Andy for getting the mic set up.
Yeah.
And I'm Doug Herring, and make sure to follow the MCU Exchange at the MCU Exchange on Twitter, or just at MCU Exchange on Facebook.
Great.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.